Hi, welcome to the Cobalt Digital NAB 2018 Virtual Booth Tour. I'm Jesse Foster, Director of Product and Business Development for Cobalt Digital. So we just wanted to have a couple slides at the beginning here for those who aren't too familiar with Cobalt. Cobalt's been around for 20 years. We manufacture a range of audio, video, and data processing solutions for production and broadcast environments. So what you see on the upper left-hand corner is the BBG 1000 standalone enclosure. That is essentially our open gear cards packaged in a fixed configuration. There's probably about 20 different versions. So our latest, greatest stuff is available as a standalone, long story short. So moving over to the open gear story, Cobalt was a co-founder of the platform. It's an open consortium of manufacturers that can make solutions for a like frame system and control system. And the blue frame is the HPF 9000. Cobalt manufactures that frame in the United States here. And the gray frame, which is on the next slide, is manufactured by Ross up in Canada, and they are both available from Cobalt at the same cost. The dashboard GUI is maintained by Ross Video, and it is really impressive considering it's free for download for multiple platforms, including Linux, Mac, and Windows. And it has a really powerful custom control panel features built into it that other vendors charge for within their proprietary ecosystem. They could really gouge you here and there where they think they can. In Open Gear, you'll see a lot of value in the kind of the open standard nature of it, being that everybody benefits. It's really a cool cool group to be involved with. So you'll see more on that, and at the booth you'll see some custom control panels on touch screens, and taking it kind of to the next level, showing how easy it can be to control some of our more sophisticated products. The blue box group, lower left hand corner, is what Cobalt started with in 1997, that type of product, interface boxes, and they've come a long way, and we now have USB control over them. They have redundant power, and we have a 12G SDI DA, and we also have some SFP based SMPTE 2022-6 and 2110 encapsulation de-encapsulation products in that form factor. So it's a nice kind of companion product. Put something on the back of a monitor and turn it from IP to HDMI or 3 gig to HDMI, for example. So that's the blue box line, and still an active line of products, and we're still interested to know what people are looking for in that type of device. Moving on, the Elements is a compressed audio processor. So it does more than just loudness. It can also do some monitoring and a few other metadata tricks. It's pretty powerful platform, but it was conceived initially to handle bulk loudness processing to appease the CALM Act requirement from the FCC. Originally conceived for like MVPDs, bulk processing, like 100 plus channels per box. So there's 3 different versions, sizes. The Elements 500 is perfect for broadcasters. So in the event that you don't want to go to baseband, but you do need to clean up some problematic channels, you could run through this without having to go to SDI and PCM audio or even Dolby in the SDI domain. This handles Dolby, AAC, quite a few different standards in line in a transport stream. So you come at it via IP or ASI, and we do the processing, and the system provides the audio and the video out coincidentally, like nothing ever happened. So completely non-destructive to video, doesn't touch the video. Moving over to Spot Check, that's a broadcast compliance logger, initially for the CALM Act again. Very powerful in regards to decoding AC3 at the packet level and showing you that level of granularity, how loud you were at any given point. It also correlates it to thumbnails. It decodes up to 1 hertz, 1 frame per second thumbnails, and will show you your charted performance in relation to those thumbnails, and then tell you if a segment or commercial program has failed over or under, while also showing you if closed captions are present, and a few other things, including sending email reports. That's a really powerful feature that is leveraged by multiple station groups to kind of monitor by exception using the spot check. Okay, let's get into the NAB scene. So Cobalt has a new location. We're over in the South Hall on the lower level in booth number 6505. It's a 40 by 40 booth. It's Cobalt's biggest booth yet. We're really excited. It gives us more room to show you more stuff. And we're also over there with other key open gear providers. So we're feeling the synergy. We're feeling the energy over in the South Hall this year. So let's dig in and take a look at the booth. So the structure here is similar to what we had last year, but it's expanded. So this is coming in from the central hall side of things. This is reception. We will have some people helping with card swipes and directing you around to find your Cobalt contact for your meeting. So that really helps. This will be a 16-foot tall sign that kind of screams what we're up to in regards to being ready for the market with HEVC, IP, 4K, 12G. We have it all this year. So that'll be there. You'll see that from down the hall. Coming down the escalator here, you'll be able to see down into the booth. So that'll be kind of unique, and we think people will get a peek and come on over. But beyond that, what we have for demo stations with product specialists at each location, here where my mouse is, this is going to be our compression station, also fiber and uncompressed over IP. Ciro Noronha will be there. He's the product development manager, engineer for the compression products. So you can always expect the best answer possible when you come by to look into that. And I have a slide that will take you through what Ciro will have. On the other side of that station is our metadata SCUDdy 104 DPI insertion. We'll have our friends from Encompass there helping us out, showing how our products can be applied. On the other side over here, we have HD and 4K broadcast and production. So two different areas showing how a lot of our products are so flexible. They have attributes that make them cost effective for both markets. So you'll see some crossover, but you'll see some that are it's just extremely unique functionality, makes it a perfect fit for a given production or broadcast application. So then moving on over, we have a big wall here that's dedicated to multi-viewers, monitoring, dashboard, routers, have some demos there you can interact with. And then around the corner, we have our HDR demo, which is our up mapping that we're doing with Technicolor's intelligent tone management software. We partner with them, and we're the only professional video processor vendor to sign up with them and be essentially the exclusive vendor for professional level production. And we'll show you more about that, and it's really exciting. It's well received, and there's a lot of energy behind it right now. So also at that station, we have some RGB color correction, which we'll get into. So what we have here is a flat view of the booth, kind of exploded flat view cross section. So down along the bottom level here is the 4 independent unique stations that I had mentioned. We have the production, broadcast, SCUDdy 104, metadata management, and the compression, IP, and fiber. This is the 4K monitoring routing wall, and this is our static demo wall consisting of our latest and most popular OpenGear and BBG 1000 modules. And this is the HDR and RGB color correction wall. So let's go take a closer look at the station here. So for the HD and 4K production side of things, we offer a lot of product for this stuff. So we touched on up above there some of what we're doing with our later offerings here for 4K. Some of those statements are 12G already, and some of them are quad 3G. That's what comprises that statement. So like 4K distribution amp, engineering is currently working on our 12G distribution amp line, which will also be fiber transport. But at this point, we have quad 3G shipping and quad 3G fiber and quad 3G distribution. So the 12G is like to come. So the 4K multi-viewer story, now that's 12G. So we got 12G and 3G going there. I'll show you more about that a little later. But 4K up-down cross conversion, that's 12G and quad 3G. That's mixing both together and converting between the two. And then the 4K frame synchronization, again, that's quad 3G and 12G. So that's the full statement. So really the only place that I don't have 12G SDI at the show support is for these two items here. But moving on, what we are going to be demonstrating is the fact that our cards have been given the ability to do 3D LUT processing. So we're going to have one demo on the right-hand side, the most basic demo that will definitely be there for sure because it's not contingent on any partners, is the ability to apply a static preset to change, like, say, S-Log3 to 709 for episodic television production. So you could save off your color decision list and hand it off with your LUT files. So that workflow, we'll have some drawings to kind of further illustrate that workflow. But also, for live real-time interaction via control surfaces like Tangent or software like the Pomfret Live Grader or the WowWow Wonderlook Pro, that is also being integrated to our cards. So depending on if the planets align, we'll most likely have WowWow there driving the card, also maybe with the Tangent panel. So fully, showing all the tools needed to do the job in the field with us doing the processing for the HD or 4K video. So that's an exciting thing for us. A lot of the development comes out of our relationship with Panavision. They're obviously specialists in cutting edge color process workflows and so forth. So it's a learning process. We're picking it up, and we've partnered with Pomfret and WowWow independently. Our engineers have good relationships with their counterparts at those companies. So it's another exciting kind of frontier for Cobalt. So moving over to broadcast solutions, we can see that there's an emphasis on what we bring in regards to conformance processing. So we have an ability to look for signal presence, signal integrity, signal configurations, and we have a big Boolean logic auto response engine that could then call up presets, cause GPO to close and be issued, for example, as the most fundamental old-fashioned example I can come up with. But couple that with the ability to do audio mixing, crawls, all that kind of stuff that goes into the traditional master control mix of functionality. We have that. It's coming together as a master control type product. So we have a lot of wins over the past couple of years with some system integrators and station groups that use our equipment to just do the bare bones of what's needed because there's so many channels these days. They're not getting a big old master control tub and control surface per channel anymore. These things need to be as cost efficient as possible. So what our product line allows people to do, being that it is software defined in the sense that it's FPGA based and all of our functionality is licensed and very granular, modular, and in the sense that we could build a superset product incrementally in the field based on when a customer needs to do something. So that's moving forward, the software definition approach of whether it's a network replacing traditional routers or just down to the level of the given device itself. What is the device? What is it doing? We're there. We have a wide array of of hardware platforms that have 12G SDI all the way down to composite analog, depending on what it is, that could be repurposed via a license to do a different process for you that needs that same type of signal I/O. So there are other approaches emerging that might be a little too future looking, in the sense that they don't have the user connectorization that our products have, being the native SDI I/O and discrete audio I/O, HDMI, all that. They need to scale it as needed, using external devices, pluggable devices. So we'll look more into that side of things, but that story, the software definable story of our platform, is going to become more and more relevant and more the case. We're going to put more and more focus on that in engineering and product development, to really show our platform card as, here it is, as cost effective as we could sell it to you, with the most basic buy-in functionality that makes it a usable item, and look at all this functionality you could add to it as cost effectively. Really, it's going to kind of reinvent the way these products are sold. And the holy grail down the road would be like the floating license with the app store and all that. So that is in our near-term future to embark on these things. So, but today you could scale up via licenses from basic frame sync all the way up to essentially a master control switcher, is the point I want to make. I have a list of some of the licensing separately, and we could point you to a list on our web page. But the list is extensive, and it's always growing based on good ideas from end users. So the Dolby loudness leveling, that's an addition. That's a change. Traditionally, we were using the linear acoustic Aeromax process. We've moved over to the Dolby implementation on this latest class of product, and the density that we could achieve and the performance is great. It couples really, really well with the AC3 encode decode engines, the DSP platform that we're using. We don't see that we'll ever oversubscribe it with the efficiency that Dolby brings, and the capacity that the hardware we're using has. So we'll see, though, Atmos, all that stuff emerging, all the ATSC 3.0. It's all object-oriented audio. It's all very exciting. From what we could tell, we'll never see this thing get bested, but like I said, we'll see. EAS crawl generation, automatic text-to-speech, and then the loudness leveling. Those three are targeted at keeping the FCC out of your business, preemptively. So we're looking at the loudness. We're making sure that it's meeting your target with your target dial norm, and we have the tools like spot check to really prove that fact. But moving other than that, traditionally EAS crawl was done with the big 1RU or 2RU logo generator, for example, but now it's it's a feature within a frame sync that's available as a license, available as a phone call to your sales guy, and an email. Very, very efficient and easy to work with. And then on the text to speech, that's the 21 CVAA was the name of it, out of the FCC, that requires that broadcasters read out aloud any crawl information in certain situations. So a visually impaired viewer could be alerted via a tone that the card handles for you, to switch over to SAP channel and listen to the emergency alert crawl, or any crawl that you're doing as a value add to the community or not. You're obligated to read it out. So okay, that's kind of difficult, right? You need something that could read the text files and marry it all into your video and audio signals smoothly and automatically. And before we were approached by by a particular station group in the beginning to do this, it took a few different pieces of less than easy to work with equipment, like a big 2RU kind of computer box, and so it's all very, very slick now as a simple license, just like the EAS license. And we support multiple languages. English and Spanish are both on air today, with the ability to really add anything, we work with a company called Acapella that specializes in the voice actor side of it, and you can get some silly voices all the way up to serious in any language that we've been asked for, that we've looked into so far. The system also has replacement vocabulary library for local dialect and words that you want to make sure don't end up getting read out. So that will be at the show. We could show you that engine there as well. The other things that we're indicating we're looking to talk to you about in regards to broadcast are encoding. So we have a popular line of AVC H.264 HD SD encoders, multi-channel, so single or dual channel. You get 20 channel and 2 RU. It lends itself really nicely to MATV kind of system evolution to IPTV systems. So if you have a facility monitoring system that's RF or maybe MPEG-2 based and you want to evolve and get to the IP level, our card could take in a composite analog signal all the way up to 1080p 63G SDI signal and put it on the network with the efficiency of AVC encoding with audio embedding and a bunch of other really cool features. So there are a couple different encoders in that family of AVC encoders that really do a great job for occasional use IPTV or facility monitoring. On the HEVC encoding side, we have a slide on a new card that we're bringing out. It'll be at the show doing encoding. And it's here to reference for HD and 4K future ATSC 3.0 broadcast conversations. We're an ATSC 3.0 voting member now, and you'll see some other things we're doing in that realm. But having a broadcast aligned encoder product is really exciting for us because we're at the truck in the field all the way to final emission at this stage, and we're also used in post, right? So production, post, and all the way to broadcast, and that broadcast can't be OTT, could be over OTA. We're really expanding and getting into a lot of different markets with a high-end solution or two for each. It's not like our offerings aren't compelling too. So it's an exciting time. See what else have we got going here. We have some on-screen monitoring going on with our multi-viewer closed caption monitoring, open the captions up for you and all that good stuff. That'll be at that display, but the engines will be there, the processors will be there. You'll see the handles, you'll see the auto response engine. We'll see if we could answer any questions for you on the spot. The design engineers will be there for this series of product too. Okay, so Cobalt has a lot to offer in regards to metadata management for getting data in and out of video and audio, and in and around the video and the audio to get around problematic processes or to salvage things. Really a lot of useful tools available for that kind of core low-level functionality. But leveraging that over the years, we've gotten ourselves into a lot of different projects and learned a lot. Specifically, SCUDdy 104 is something that we've had a lot of success with over these past couple of years, and through some engagement with the partners and some product specialists through other vendors, we've developed the ability to do the frame accurate SCUDdy insertion per the SCUDdy 104 spec. So the SCUDdy committee recommends you do your insertion in the baseband side of things for multiple reasons, and accuracy is one of them. So we were asked to develop that on our FrameSync platform in conjunction with the guys at Encompass. So Encompass Digital Media is a channel origination company worldwide. They do over 900 channels. They emit over 900 channels, and they have like every automation system under the sun. So our card could be told by automation directly. We support a ton of different protocols to program our card to tell it what it wants to insert on a given frame at any given time dynamically. But for an Encompass or other entities that have multiple automation systems and multiple databases to work with. A middleware like the Encompass Channel Mark product is what's going to be needed. So Encompass developed Channel Mark internally. They reached out for partners, and we're the hardware partner that did the insertion side of it. So Channel Mark sits on the Encompass network, on the broadcast playout network, and looks at multiple different automation platforms. Sundance and ADC are coming to mind right now as known on the air implementations. But it then compiles all the data that needs to be put on a given frame, and that's evolving. That data is specified, what can go in there by SCUDY, and it's always evolving to include new applications like user rights management. They're putting URL website addresses, for interactive viewing. There's a ton of different things that are going to evolve, and it's only going to get bigger. So the ability to dynamically program a given frame at the last minute with the latest information is an important thing moving forward. So that's where Channel Mark and our hardware kind of come together to deliver that today. So James Helliker from Encompass is the development engineer on the software, Channel Mark software. He will be in the booth performing demonstrations with the ADC server and automation and our insertion and our monitoring product. So you'll see a real world use case being presented, and beyond just programming the feature, the rich message on the front end, which is big money, it's monetization there. But the other story here that we're showing is what the other thing that we originally started working with Encompass for was the ability to take that frame accurate data that we authored and make a frame accurate VOD file on the fly. So what the issue is the Nielsen ratings can still be accrued on a VOD server for 3 days. It's a C3 VOD is what it's called. So as soon as that file gets up on the server, it could still keep making you money, and the longer it takes to get up there, nobody's watching it, you're not making that money. So what the situation was, Encompass had an editor take a given clip, a given segment that needs to go to VOD distribution, and they would take it into edit bay and they would trim video pre and post the desired segment, and then they would take it, re-encode it, and send it out, and that would take like 24 hours and a lot of money on all types of levels for Encompass. So our card set now, I have a slide I could elaborate on this a little bit more, but we could actually listen to Channel Mark, author that message in the baseband side, encode it, AVC encode it, then drop a file off, frame accurate file as needed as you chunk through your linear playlist, like drop a file off from this segment, drop a file off from this segment, increment the name automatically, program the name via SNMP. It's pretty cool. It's another unique offering, especially in the class of product that Cobalt offers, and the form factor and the appliance level package that we were able to realize with Encompass. Pretty cool story that has implications for all different kinds of markets that we are finding our equipment being deployed in. So other things, I kind of got ahead of myself here. This is a really great new feature that we did for our station group, where incoming SCUDY 104 messages can drive presets intelligently, and those presets can then have delay before they're enacted on, so really powerful. You start imagining what you could do with that already, but some of the inherent functionality that enabled this came out of our EAS emergency alert crawl implementation, where there's another requirement to do station ID logos as part of that. It's a traditional feature that comes along with EAS inserters, and doing it from SCUDY was a big deal. We had a couple station groups say, yeah, that would be a huge problem solver. We don't need a GPI or anything to manage that. Boom, got it. It's in there, and that was like the first kind of evolution of that feature, but now it's much more configurable. It's really dynamic, and it's a unique item in the industry. So come by and see that. We do monitoring and logging on a couple different products, but specifically the ANCMON, which is down here, is the ancillary data monitor that was conceived to replace scopes. Traditionally, you have an operator going through like a vector waveform monitor from like Tektronix or Leader or something, and it's it's multiple pages. It's not meant to be used like that. And the SCUDdy 104 message is one of the things that would always confound end users, because it would just fly by. If you weren't looking at the screen, you wouldn't see it. It wouldn't catch it for you. So this ANCMON product is essentially gives you a full screen image, or you could scale your full frame rate image anywhere that you want on the screen. And then you could start opening up ancillary data payloads, SCUDdy, closed captioning, audio, there's audio bars, all that. So it's really a powerful little monitoring tool that simmered down what people really want to see, took out the complexity. Outputs HDMI and 1080p 60, 3G simultaneously. Okay, let's go take a look at compression, IP, and fiber. Okay, so over at the compression IP fiber station, we have some traditional offerings that have been enhanced, and a lot of new stuff for us that we'll go over right here. So on the SDI over IP side, we still work with the Embryonics SFPs, so we can offer single and dual channel 2022-6 or 2110. But engineering is working on our own native implementation. So we own our own destiny in regards to density and ancillary processing features that we could wrap around, our own FPGA implementation of these new IP standards. It's a big topic. So come by the booth to see our product, the 9904 class product, taking in an HD signal over IP and omitting a signal over IP. With processing in the middle. And I also have a slide in a moment here that'll show you that our channel integrator broadcast product, 9902 product, is at the IP interop booth in the central hall, where they're trying to show IP enabled product actually doing real life work. So that channel integrator product is extremely capable, and we enabled it with the Embryonics SFPs. In that case, the 9904s will be our native implementation, like I mentioned there. On the fiber side, we do a wide range of products that you could build a comprehensive kit in open gear and compete against some of the larger proprietary platforms in the video space. Passive CWDM multiplexing, gigabit Ethernet transport, copper extension for in-band management, sear frame out to the edge. All that is in our kit. The 4K HEVC encoding, we will be showing at this stand here at this station 12G SDI to streaming encode and decode local at this station. So the design engineer Ciro, like I mentioned earlier, will be present to answer any questions and let you know where we're going with that. I have a slide on it. That platform is going to have a lot of applications. The ARQ, automatic send request implementation that Ciro did for Cobalt, was selected by the Reliable Internet Stream Transport group, subgroup in the VSF, Video Services Forum. So that's the wrist logo that you see there. Ciro's actually giving a paper on Thursday of the NAB week there in Vegas, and we'll be able to elaborate on what the group is doing, and also take any ideas that you might have for the next generation packet loss protection for contribution over the internet and wherever that goes. They are using Ciro's concept, which was open standard based to begin with, to build it from. So it's pretty exciting for Cobalt to be part of that. The MediaWare logo you see there, that's indicating that we will have a MediaWare driven commercial insertion demo going. MediaWare is a General Dynamics company out of Australia, and they do compressed domain commercial and program replacement insertion frame accurately. And we actually have a new a card that's a computer card, a PC card, and an open gear, and we've benchmarked it to easily run 3 full channels of MediaWare with frame accurate replacement in our new little PC card. So we're looking at all kinds of new kind of channel in the box type of scenarios moving forward with MediaWare. They do a lot of those elements as well, like loudness management and branding. So Ciro will be there. Ciro understands how their stuff works, and of course understands how our stuff works. So we'll be able to tell you what is achievable today, and with this partnership, what we can do together. So the over on the right hand side, these monitors, touch on these. This is the ARQ demo where your source content right out of the player is feeding the multi-viewer. Then it's fed through encoder, ARQ protected encoder, path to decoder. Ciro can turn ARQ on and off, or you could right here in dashboard. And he has a packet loss, a tool that introduces packet loss and can break the stream, and you can see that how far ARQ could fix it. It's pretty impressive. So then below that is the commercial insertion replacement demo, where we have a program server playout with the normal channel feed with the alt program. You'll see the alt switch in, and we could do that manually with a button push of a SCSI 104 message, just to show that level of throughput all the way to the end at the compressed edge. Pretty cool. So moving on over to the 4K monitoring routing section of the booth. What we'll have here on the left hand side, again as we did last year, is a rack full of equipment that is responsible for running the booth. So each one of these little labels underneath pretty much mirrors the messaging that you were reading above each one of those individual stations, and then the respective product is in each one of these frames. So if anyone wants to see it running, just pop the door open. If they want to see the frame system operating, how the fans work, everything, that'll be the real-time live demo over on the left hand side here. On the bottom we have our BBG 1000 devices, just 3 select devices, like a dual TG and up-down cross converter and a multi-viewer. And this is the OG3 frame down below doing some source distribution. And up towards the top here, this is a frame turned around backwards so you can see the rear panels involved with SCSI 104 Fast, which you'll see a slide on here momentarily. And that's what our friends at Encompass use to get their channel mark system going. So they order a frame from us. We can do multiple channels in a single frame, but they wanted an appliance level installation, and engineering worked with them closely to come up with all the different elements needed to do that. Above it, we'll have a spot check and elements there for visual reference, and we have online demos which we could show you at any time, and also at the show, so you can see the product in action still. Moving on over is a poster just talking about our 12G, 6G routers and multi-viewers. This is a 75-inch UHD display that is being driven by our new 9971 series of multi-viewers. It's running in a quad split mode, but in a hybrid SDI HDMI input scenario. Up in the upper left-hand quadrant, you have a 9-image cascade that's being accomplished using 2 of our existing 9970 1080p 60 multi-viewers. First card does 5, it outputs the background to the next card, and you add 4 new images, and you get to 9 images on a 1920 by 1080 raster. That's being fed into that quadrant and filling it up pixel for pixel. Perfect use of space there. Next to that is the truck, full screen 1920 1080 clean program, and below are 2 computer outputs via HDMI ingest into the multi-viewer. So having all the resolution of a UHD display lends itself to using it for graphics and user interfaces alongside the video. And this new processor we have allows you to do that, make a real clean fly pack type of kit. using our frame system. So next to that is a dashboard poster just talking about the different platforms you can install it on. And this is the touchscreen that'll be running a master control type touchscreen with real video keyed over it using our multi-viewer. Really cool application, real world application. This is mirrored copy of that just so you can see. And you'll be able to control it from OpenGear here as well with keyboard and mouse, and you'll see it reflect on both sides. You could do that even if they weren't on the same machine. It's pretty cool. So moving on over to the right is a variant of our 9970 QS 3G multi-viewer for master control applications. It's always lended itself well to production controls like low latency, audio meters, gradical generators, tallies, all of the UMDs, everything you need in a production multi-viewer, but it did lack some deeper monitoring capabilities that the master control and technical operations center type of monitoring, where you have a lot of signals and fewer personnel. This variant of the QS card lends more of its processing power. We removed the ability to take away remove the ability to input level B 3G, which isn't used in master control, and use that extra FPGA resources to do a deeper monitoring on signals in regards to audio under, frozen, black, all that kind of stuff. So along with that, we did the output in a portrait mode. You can run it in landscape traditionally, but portrait mode is really popular for small trucks and smaller master control rooms where space is at a premium. It's really efficient to run a monitor up the corner of a wall, for example, in the corner, and use it for your monitoring, and then monitor by exception, again, just having issues bubble up and let you know, as opposed to having eyeballs on each picture at all times, which is the old school approach. So let's go look over at the HDR demo. Intending to show here on the left-hand side is it's most likely going to be a 4K signal. These are 65-inch Sony displays, UHD HDR displays, and we will have 4K, native 4K run around the booth, so that I don't think there's any reason not to do it in 4K. So you got your standard dynamic range source content on the left. We will be running it through a color corrector, so you can get your hands on these shaft encoders and tweak it and see what the effects are through the the Technicolor process, because it will then be running through the Technicolor intelligent tone management. So we'll just be able to reset it right back to base, but basically showing you the RGB color correction on the left hand side on the SDR content, and then you'll have your auto up mapped intelligent tone management processed results on the right hand side, and it is impressive. So this will be a good demo to show you the side by side on two really good quality monitors. All right, so this last segment here is the static display. This is the OpenGear PC card I referenced earlier. So having a computer, an x86 computer in a terminal gear system like OpenGear it's a first. Everybody we talk to, range in end user or partner vendor, sees an application for it, like within the same conversation. They go, oh, that's cool, and then they go, oh, hey, I have a need for that. When can I get it? So I'm presuming that some of you are thinking the same thing. So it'll be at the show, running in multiple areas, and it is ready for demo. And I have a slide on it here. So the card next to that, 9904 H2S, that is a quad up to quad channel HDMI 2.0 to 12G SDI converter. First release will be probably June, July. The hardware's done and everything. Then you just got to get to it. It could get accelerated if need be. I mean, we've already been asked for it in the probably the hundreds really over the years, because even in the 1080p side of things with HDMI 1.4, we didn't ever have this form factor. But having the ability to do the signal conditioning, say to feed our multi-viewers from set-top boxes, if you don't have the hybrid version one, is really powerful to be able to offer that. So the roadmap would be, like scan converter type of thing, and maybe some things with some HDCP support and so forth. But the first version will be a basic HDMI to SDI converter for 4K 12G SDI out. Next to that is the 9904 UDX. So that's the full up-down cross converter. That's the flagship device there. The cool thing about it is the cost is incrementally a bit more than the 3G version, and really just given everything at that part number, right? Your frame sync, embedder, de-embedder, all kinds of stuff that other vendors either can't do in the same product based on what technology they use, or they like to parse it out. And, you want an up converter today? All right, that's one PO. And the down converter or cross converter it's another discussion, right? We have obviously our software defined licensing, like I mentioned, but you'll see on the block diagram this thing's pretty feature rich. So 9971 MV6 4H 4K, that's the part number for the hybrid multi-viewer. 6 12G SDI in, 4 HDMI 2.0 in, and it's 4K on in and out, right? So 4K inputs scaled down to fill up a 4K output raster, or lower if you wanted to drive an HD panel, you could do that too. The 9971 MV18, that's 18 12G SDI inputs. You'll see in some slide later that there will be a software option shortly after NAB that it will enable the second output. These are single-headed right now, but it's just a software license that will be field installable to enable a fully independent second head. So next row down, 9223, that's our existing AVC H.264 encoder platform that's really great for IPTV, like I mentioned, or streaming to the web. It's got a lot of, it's everywhere, things out there. The 9990 DEC MPEG is a companion decoder. The RTP ARQ being, until the RIST group gets done with it, it is a proprietary implementation, but we do have in the 9223 and the 9090 DEC a end-to-end contribution solution for internet delivery, where like latency of like HLS, which we support as well, isn't appropriate, right? If you use HLS, your latency can be pretty extensive, but it's going to be next to perfect delivery. If you don't have that option, you have the RTP ARQ delivery using our encoder decoder set over the internet. The 9990 router MPEG, that is a reclocking, dejittering MPEG transport stream over IP router distribution amplifier. I think I got redundant there, but essentially it has two 1 gig NIC RJ145 Ethernet ports on it, and it has across those two 16 ports in, 16 ports out. So there's a version of the router that's an 8x16. So you can look at that as 8 1x2 DAs for unicast transport streams, which is really the reason why we did this, is the fact that a unicast address by design has one destination. You can't get your hands on it to look at it, and it's kind of what embracing IP in our world is every day we're going to be getting into this, but this problem has been around for a long time, and it says compressed over IP, but getting a copy of that thing, this is a really useful device. And we had a high-level system integrator dealer that has their own support department and really sees a lot of this stuff, ask us for this device, this product, because it's a big problem solver. So yeah, just imagine, I got one in, I need 8 copies of it, like a 1x8 SDIDA. Boom, over IP. That's what this thing is doing, and it does truly have some capabilities in the hardware used and the components used to do dejittering and reclocking of the packets. So it actually does clean up the signal and can fix some problems, some real world problems. So that's a fun one. And then our transcoder, it's finding a lot of different applications. It's very capable product that's not just a transcoder. So um, I've seen it fix a lot of different like PMT issues, and we're just looking at it as like an ASI failover with intelligence, and the price looks like it could work. So we have a lot of different platforms in the compression products that, given the the need or the want, they could be something else. So if you're in that space and you think some of these things might be achievable on what you see here, come by, because we got a really great engineering department there. They love problem solving, and they'll be there. Bill Slattery will be there as well, in addition to Ciro Naronha. Finally on that row, we have the 9992 ENC 4K HEVC. That's the flagship of that new platform, where it's actually doing a 12G or quad 3G in to H.265 HEVC encode out over ASI or IP. That same hardware could also be licensed and used as a multi-channel encoder. So quad channel, triple, dual, or single channel licensable. It's also multi-standard, so it could do MPEG 2 in addition to AVC, MPEG 4, and the HEVC, but it needs to be one codec across the board at a time. So but that, I have a slide on that, so I won't get too far ahead of myself here. The 9960 TG2 Ref 1 is our dual test generator, and it has some new features like HDR test pattern support. It now references network time protocol and will give you locked LTC. It'll generate LTC, and some new test generator features in regards to closed caption generation and SCSI 104 packet generation for stress testing your system. So that's a cool product. The 9934 Odd Pro is the DSP enabled 3G broadcast processor. So it's our audio processor with 3G HD, SD, and composite analog video support. But it could also be licensed up with frame sync and some more advanced features, even scaling. So that's a popular product. People see the value of being able to buy in with just what they need today and add quite a bit, really, to build up to essentially close to what you see next to it, which is a 9902 UDX DSP channel integrator. So that has the scaling, that has noise reduction, and frame rate conversion options and stuff that the 9934 doesn't have. But pretty much the 9934 could get close, just so you could see the mass range of buy-in level within our product line. If we see a market and we see a use case and a price will bear, then we have a product for it that's particularly refined for that application. So that's what you're seeing there. But the flexibility is under the hood to really scale it up. So I have a slide on the channel integrator. The 9941 router, that is a line of 3G, HD, SD, MADI, ASI routers. There is a variant, the 12x4 IO size in 12G SDI. But all the 3G and below version, the 4 signals run through the FPGA on the board there. So we've actually developed some features that add value to the router, and one of them is the dual test generator block, and another license adds dual up-down cross conversion and clean and quiet switching. So really for trucks, news, outside mobile news production, that kind of stuff, it's going to be a killer. And panel support has been enhanced. I have a slide. You'll see that. So the router is going to start taking off. It's already a popular one. We're also, a quick story, at Panavision, we've replaced all of their legacy processing equipment from Evertz over the years here. And the last thing is 1RU pizza box router that they've been using for a long time. And this is across multiple kits that they use for episodic television production. and our new router just fits in 2 out of 20 slots in the open gear system amongst all the other stuff they use, and frees up a rack unit. So and we're plugging into the legacy system and listening to the old protocols. Engineering is just doing a little custom work there, but that's an exciting one, because now we've replaced those other guys at every level in those systems at a high end user. So that's a good story for our router. The Ankmon product I touched on earlier, it'll be there to see in person, but it'll also be at every station around the booth doing its thing, so you could see different iterations of what the layout could look like and so forth. Down below we have our Blue Box line, A to S. That's an archive quality composite and component to SDI converter. It has been successful in multiple shootouts against every other manufacturer of this type of device, and the quality, just based on the level of components, is outstanding. So the margin's not huge, but it's a traditional Cobalt type product, very engineering centric and about as good as you can get. Then moving over, we got embedders, de-embedders for analog, 8-channel balanced analog in, another one for analog out, and then on the AES side, they're combos, so embed, de-embed in one box for balanced and unbalanced version for each of those. The SFP-SXH, that is a user configurable, externally accessible SFP box, so you could put in a video SFP, whether it be HDMI or 2110 encapsulator or whatever, and the box will host it, and it'll light up its other connectors, SDI, IO, and so forth. The Mark II device next to it, that's our line of signal extension for 3G SDI all the way down to ASI. We got a single, dual, transmit, receive, and then we have transceivers. They power off of included DC power supply and via USB. And the cool feature on those boxes is you could see the optical transmit receive power of these little boxes, so you can troubleshoot network or physical fiber issues and stuff. It's a nice little value add feature. The IP box next to that is just like the SFP-SXH, except purpose packaged for encapsulation, either single. This is a single encap or decap. And then the 12G DA next to that is a 1x6 SMPTE 2082 DA with the very good performance, cable length performance. Our engineers bench tested it at the component manufacturer lab, and they were surprised with how how high performance it is. So I have a quick slide on that. So let's go look and see what is new for NAB 2018. And like we touched on, is the Open Gear PC card. So it's a full function, high-speed computer in an Open Gear card. So it takes advantage of the frame redundant power supply, the cooling. It's great. You can get 10 of these things, or 5 of these things at this density in the rear module in 2RU. So it's actually a pretty dense, full uptime, package for computers, even depending on what you're doing. So dashboard enabled. At this stage, it shows up in dashboard, and you could reboot it remotely. So you could imagine if you're doing any kind of in-band management out to the edge, as opposed to rolling a truck. If you have an issue with the machine, with the computer, it needs to be restarted, or if a software requires a restart, as opposed to rolling out there and doing it, you could do it via the network. It's pretty cool. You could also do soft reboots and a couple other things. The product can be purchased from Cobalt with Windows 7 or Windows 10 IoT. Let's see. A really cool thing for engineers in our world here is that it has a DB9 serial comms port for RS-232, 422 to allow you to control, troubleshoot, work on our type of devices without adding the complexity of a USB dongle in between, which we're all pretty accustomed to now with laptops over the past 10 years or so. But being able to have a good old school connector to cut to the chase in the field is a good thing. And the display port output being full 4K at 60 hertz is really cool too for future looking system designs and fly packs. So big deal for us, and we're gonna have them in the boatload, so we're ready. 9904 UDX 4K. So that is our, UHD 12G SDI full up UDX. It has a couple things that will be ready in Q3, specifically the 2110 IO that will be showing at the show. That will be shippable, but as far as the release the schedule for full functionality, that's Q3 that we would say to probably look at for the full release. The quality event detect at QC, that's where we look at signal integrity based on what you say, and then we have that whole response engine that'll be ported over within that time frame. Frame sync will be sooner than later, along with the deinterlace noise reduction. Then the trouble slate, that stuff will come before the Q3 endpoint there, as well as the HDMI. So the other blocks are ready today, and this thing is in the field shipping. It's at HBO doing Dolby E decoding of all things. So it's gonna be the broadcast processor of the future, obviously with the 4K support, and the fact that it does the Technicolor up mapping as HDR and ATSC 3.0 come together and start becoming a reality. Having a device like this in line that's doing so much work for you, with then the ability to then up map SDR to HDR if needed. But the next level of Technicolor engagement we have the code in-house engineers working on it, is to be able to down convert an HDR signal to a standard dynamic range signal, but include SL6505 metadata that is intended to tell downstream devices that this was an HDR signal, and you could rehydrate it, they're calling it, back to the original HDR dynamic range and color content, using just that metadata. So that is an exciting thing, and this card will be doing that in the broadcast space, but it will also be doing that down conversion with the metadata in the production outside broadcast space, where it's in the truck compound. In the truck, a 4K truck doing HDR needs to hand off an HD signal with standard dynamic range, for example, and frame sync and all that. So that's what this device is doing, and is going to be doing for years. This platform is extremely capable. System on chip FPGA design, big old honking FPGA wrapped with a bunch of 12G SDI and HDMI 2.0 support. So yeah, it's already really popular. So the color correction's available. I had mentioned the Dolby decoding that comes along with the Dash DSP hardware option that adds a daughter card that adds our DSP board. Then you will see a slide that actually shows the licenses available for that. But the Dash IP is where the 2110 2022-6 support will come from, and that is the Cobalt native support that I told you engineering is working on now. So a couple of just basic application drawings as far as conversion, frame sync and up down cross. You have 3G in and your quad link 3G out 4K. You could do the HDR up mapping within that same process. Technicolor recommends to do it before the scaling, so we do it in the HD raster and then give you the 4K output. We could do that. We could emit 12G SDI out of the card or quad link. Down below, showing the reverse. See, we will be adding the HDR support to get you back down to 709. So on the color correction front, the panel is widely deployed, is very popular with operators, which is a big deal. And people actually make television and whatnot. They're pretty particular about the tools they use, and this is a widely accepted interface. And the fact that you could commingle 3G 1.5 gig Cobalt color corrector product from years ago with the new 4K device on the same panel and the same network is pretty cool. So that's like a kind of concept with OpenGear backwards compatibility, where the cards that we make today worked in the previous generation frame. It's pretty cool. So moving on to the next area is 4K multiviewers. So there's 4 different versions represented on this single slide. Thought this would be an easy way to kind of just show you the breadth of what we're offering. So the MV6 4K, that's straightforward, 6 in. You have your single-headed output via 12G and HDMI 2.0 simultaneously. Dual-headed option will be made available for that as well. The next one over to the right, that's the IP. So the hardware is there. Engineering is working on the encapsulation. At the first go-round, we will not have any compression on board to take a 12G, cumulative 12G 4K 60p signal over a 10 gig, because what this option adds is 2 10 gig IPs. So first stage would be spanning those two to get it out. But until that's happening, we're doing a 1080p 60 3G over 2110 or 2022-6 to the display on the display side. So once we know what we'll be able to achieve density-wise, which is we'll know before NAB here, we'll have a front-end statement on what we'll be able to take in uncompressed and then scale and output either via SDI or IP. So that's cool that product has that path forward. The hybrid device I had mentioned earlier, so you got your 6 12G input, 4 HDMI inputs, feeding 2 discrete full 4K output rasters. This could be concurrent, so there's it could be 12G SDI to both displays and HDMI to both displays, or you could pick and choose. The output stage is capable of that. The 18 to 2 displays. So the features will be rolling out that just like the statement I made on the 9970 earlier. The first version that you'll see at the show is going to be more production centric, but we don't foresee having any processing limitations that'll keep us from taking this to the high density, deep monitoring level of a master controller TOC type multi-viewer. So the 12G DA I'd mentioned included here from just 4K product sake. That little eye pattern is actually shown to you in our little USB tool that we connect for configuration and monitoring. So that'd be pretty useful in the field for troubleshooting. And then there's an example over here on the side of what else it exposes. But this is the software that'll show you your optical power, transmit, receive, etc. So HEVC encoders, so that's the hardware there. Cool thing about it is FPGA accelerated, so it will be software definable. That layer of Cobalt functionality, pretty much everything we just talked about, being able to be ported over to the encoder. So we'll have a one-of-a-kind offering in regards to how much you can do in a single card with the latest, greatest support, in regards to signal types and standards. So this device here could be used as a quad encoder, like I had mentioned, or all of that encode power can be combined to give you a 4K encode. So those new router options I had mentioned, you got your dual channel up, down, cross, dual channel clean and quiet. Those come with the same -PRO processing license. The dual channel test generator is a separate license. The router's ability to be controlled by JSON opens up really this all automation systems. That's pretty much the state of the art, RESTful interfaces, and all of our latest newer products speak that. So we're finding that makes integration easier than it's ever been. But SNMP, Serial, Grass Valley, Probel support, Sierra, Pesa, a lot of native third-party protocol support built in. Then it has GPIO and control and status. So, for example, that Panavision story I'd mentioned, the system that is plugging into 6 sources are one destination has 6 sources allocated to it, and that's controlled from GPI, and the other destination 6 sources that's controlled from the Sony camera setup unit. So the router will be listening to both systems, both scenarios simultaneously. So flexible control and monitoring. And then the control panel integration has become enhanced recently, and I have a slide on that next. There's the part number for the 12G device right here. So here are the panels that we've tested against, and we have partnerships with these vendors. Pesa, the PNet series. So you enter the IP address of the panel into dashboard. It's a pretty unique implementation. And boom, you have a nice basic router control there. Lavo Snap panel actually has a control system embedded and runs Probel protocol, which our card supports natively. So that's another scenario. Down below the DNF panels, those are capable of doing advanced device control in addition to router control using the HTTP messaging that the card speaks. So among those buttons, you could have preset recall, turn gradical on, gradical off, really kind of anything that you can get to on the card, these panels can do. So that's an exciting level of bridging the gap in regards to a really cool piece of hardware that can do so much stuff, but how does the human make it do it? These are the type of panels that do that. So in the broadcast tool side of things, this is the channel integrator. This drawing is meant to kind of just simplify a ton of, I guess 1,000 words supposed to do here. So the signal support, the hardware is just extremely capable in regards to handling digital, AES, PCM audio, discrete audio, analog audio. It'll embed that, it'll de-embed it, it'll give it back on the other side. It does composite analog audio, PAL, NTSC. It'll convert you to 601 SDI on the output, or take you all the way up to 1080 with side panels, and key and fill. But then it's got the full range of SNMP, SCSI 104, NTP, reference, time code. So this platform card really is an amazing product, and we see it as almost a one-stop shop for your linear broadcast channel. It could pretty much do everything for you, and what it doesn't do is available in OpenGear from Ross for Nielsen, and currently closed caption encoding from EEG. So all of that signal health, the product health from those partners all shows up in dashboard. It's a great story. It's a single point of command and control for your most demanding audio and video processing applications, I'd like to say. So in the block diagram, this is traditional on our block diagrams with these denote options. So down here, what makes Channel Integrator special above and beyond a 9902 UDX that has DSP enabled is the fact that there's this new rear module that supports additional cards from the front. So the base Channel Integrator card will do 4 analog audio in and out, as an example. This part number here, quick note, Cobalt part numbers that start with a dash indicate that it's hardware and is most likely a order time factory installed option. And that is what's going on here is that we're indicating that you need to check to make sure you have this at order time, this rear module, and this fact that it's adding hardware. So the part number beneath that is the SFP part number, so channel integrator SFP, that adds a card that lights up that SFP cage. I shouldn't have said light because the fiber or copper SFP is sold separately, but the card that does all the routing and the signal handling is added with that part number. The range of SFPs, like the embryonics range of optical SFPs, are all benchmarked and tested, as well as the HDMI and the NCAP DCAP SFPs. So this is the card, the rear module that you'll see in the IP showcase at the Ames booth in the Central Hall. That is the channel integrator. So FastStream OTT is another broadcast-centric type of product platform. So what we have here is 3 cards that come together to make the FastStream OTT platform. So FAST stands for frame accurate SCSI triggers, and that's happening in the baseband side of things. So our frame syncs and our up-down cross converters can get a license that's called plus SCSI 104 FAST. That enables it to work with like the Encompass XML type file. There are other methods to get the frame accurate insertion going, but that FAST license uses XML, and then you come out of the card frame accurate into an encoder. So this encoder is an H.264 streaming encoder with IP and ASI out. It does the 104 to 35 conversion. So that's your fast stream, and the over-the-top level functionality, the OTT side of it, just comes in where this transcoder is actually breaking apart the GOP and aligning the iframes to coincide with SCSI 35 messages, which coincided with the break indications in automation. So it's extremely accurate, frame accurate, from very deterministic from the automation level all the way to your final output stream. And this is a stream example diagram that Encompass did, just to show you the granularity of detail that you can get through the system, because that's all defined in automation, right? Why lose that level of intelligence? These systems allow you to get it into the emission stage of your plant as efficiently and dynamically as possible. So the real cool thing about channel mark is that you can make changes up to the last second, and that ability to be flexible and sell things at the last second is pretty much the way things work these days. So moving on to a quick statement over SMPTE over IP. All of this that you see here is using embryonics. So the 9991 series, that's an embedder de-embedder product, a capable little embedder de-embedder with the ability to get in and out of it via IP. And then you have your companion little throwdown blue box there. So just imagine you got your terminal gear doing the encapsulation and the de-encapsulation happening at a monitor on set or in the studio. So I think that's it. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in Las Vegas, and we'll get the party started out there. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.